Well, and great to start off our show, and welcome back to our show, celebrity wedding planner and designer David Tutera. David, great to have you back with us for a few moments.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me back.
So, how has this season gone? I mean, obviously, I think there's a lot of expectation that this is going to be a big blowout year because the last 2 years have been so kind of off the charts.
Yeah, I'm in the business for over 3 decades, and as when we were sort of sitting around doing nothing for 2 years, and then it hits you like a bomb that explodes, and it is out of control right now. When I say the industry as a whole, not, and I can speak for myself specifically, but as an industry as a whole, people are really trying to figure out how can they execute the work that they have. They don't have enough staff. Clients are more needy, which is sort of shocking. And it's become really challenging for our industry.
Let me throw two issues that we've talked a lot about on the show and just the economy in general. One being supply chain, and two being inflation, and how those two have impacted you in recent months.
Both have impacted us greatly, and we are very, very vocal about it and very transparent about when we first speak or meet with a client, and we explain to them what you thought was the price yesterday is very different today, which also could increase by the time we get to the finish line of your wedding. So we sort of put that out there, sort of a protection for us as the planner, which is sort of, we're curating the contracts and dealing with the vendors, but also trying to please the client. I think what's really necessary is this industry, my industry of events, we tend to, not myself, but we tend as an industry as a whole, don't talk about business. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about, where's the pitfalls. We just sort of throw, confetti up in the air and glitter and say it's going to be a shiny, beautiful party. But the reality is it's a business that we have to explain to them. This is how it works. This is the contract. This is the deposit. These are the payments. These are the vendors. And often this is an industry that just sort of like sugarcoats that without showcasing the business side of it.
Are people then going more extravagantly in terms of their wants because of the last 2 years? Obviously, the price point is a component here, but do they want to try and do more if they can?
I think they think that there's more available, there's better ideas and bigger places they can go to, but the reality is I think that it's complicating the client. The clients that we are dealing with right now, and I could share this without using names, but over the course of like 8 months, we got 4 billionaire contracts. And I say billionaire contracts, I refer to them as the billionaire club, as in the consumer. And those typically come up like once or twice a year. You don't get slammed with 4 of them like immediately. Then you have to sit them down and explain to them, just because you can't afford anything doesn't mean it can get you anything. And that's sort of that dialogue that, again, is happening. And we have to have that dialogue.
I can imagine that has made your schedule this last year, very challenging.
Let me tell you, what we're dealing with at this very present time, as I'm speaking to you, is a project that is the largest project that we've done in my entire 3 decades. And it is difficult because the client will not accept the answer no, or not accept the answer it's going to cost more. But yet they want to go down that road. So it's been a very long, drawn out project that it's coming to a close in 2 weeks, which will be great.
And then you can take a breather and go on to the next one.
Little breather, little.
Well, but when you're talking about an event like a wedding and a reception, I would imagine that the mindset of the consumer is I want it my way or the highway to a degree.
No, I think it's always been sort of that way. When you're dealing with a consumer who's getting married, right? So we do corporate, we do social, we do weddings. Weddings is a very specific breed. It is. They have a fantasy in their head. They have an imagination of what the romance is of the evening or the celebration. And they don't equate it to what are all the pieces of this puzzle. I always say a wedding has a plethora of pieces to put the puzzle together. One piece missing is a party that's not complete. So my job and my team's job is always to explain to them that it takes time. Now everybody right now, I don't know why, thinks that there's an immediate yes or an immediate answer of no. You have to let it breathe and let it build and find the right vendors for our clients. And They want it right away. I get my texts go off sometimes at midnight from clients asking for things that I'm like, we're not even at that point yet. You need to get a dress, you need a venue, and you need to know the guest list. We can fill all the other things in later.
You mentioned about the other types of events that your company does as well. In general, though, this year, if you're talking to somebody that is thinking about playing an event, what are the tips that you're giving them that maybe are more specific to 2022 than maybe you've seen in the past years?
Well, it's funny. We're doing a topic tonight. We do a lot of live sessions on Facebook Live, and tonight we're talking about destination weddings. And it's probably not the best topic because there's still issues with COVID. There's still issues not in the essence of getting COVID, the protocol of getting people on islands. And just because things have gotten lighter doesn't mean it's gotten easier. So I'm always trying to slow the consumer down to give them sort of the direction of where they should go. What's the best route to take? Where should we go if you want to go on a destination wedding? Where is the easiest place to go? Where do you feel your guests will want to spend their money, and will they want to take one air flight to a location, or will it be two? I think the consumer today has become less patient, more needy, and more unavailable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, final question for you, one of the things we've talked a lot about during the pandemic is how businesses at times have had to pivot in order to be able to survive. Are there elements of your industry that you've seen that have pivoted over the course of the last couple of years, but they've actually, in the end, pivoted for the better and not necessarily to the detriment of how you run things?
I could speak to that directly. We pivoted immediately. I mean, we were first face out explaining this was going to be around for a while, and we built a mentorship program online, and we built a educational series of programs that brought the industry to us, that we could teach them how to be prepared beyond COVID, but most importantly, how to be a better professional, a business person in this industry that doesn't really have the best tools in their box to create a successful business. So we used that for our purposes of educating, but it turned out to be a great revenue source for us because we weren't doing events, we were now teaching. And that pivot was a big success for us.